So earlier on today, I was out for a drive. I was going to the shop. I had to pick up a few bits. There is a point to this story, I promise. I had a talk radio station on. I won't say which channel. I wasn't really paying much attention, to be honest. I like listening to them. Sometimes they anger me. Sometimes I agree with what's said, but I feel like I learn a lot of stuff about people more than anything, but also what's going on in the world at the moment. As I said, I really wasn't paying much attention. I've had a lot on this week, and my mind has been elsewhere, shall we say. But this conversation took place where they were talking about toxic masculinity. Someone had rung in speaking about toxic masculinity, and it's something that really gets my goat. I think that's the term. It's something I think we can all agree is an issue, no doubt. But it really it angers me because I feel, and a lot of normal, just genuine blokes that I speak with feel that masculinity it almost feels like it's under attack. We are judged for the fact that we dare to be born with a penis. So it kind of, like I said, I wasn't paying attention, and then I heard this, and then my ears sort of peaked. I'm like, what's been said? I wasn't in a good place. I've not had a good week. It's been a very stressful week, and I got very irate at the radio. And I thought, you know what? I think more normal guys, and I like to think I'm as normal as I can be, need to stand up for ourselves and say, do you know what? 99% of blokes are just normal guys. And it does feel like the fact that we are men is a stick that is used to beat us with. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But that is what this episode is going to delve into a little bit, and hopefully let normal guys know that you haven't done nothing wrong, like, you know what I'm saying? As for those guys who are arseholes, you're arseholes. I'm not sticking up for them guys, but just the normal guys who are trying to live their lives to the best of their ability, trying to be the best fathers they can be, or the best sons they can be, or just the best men that they can be, and try and give something back to society. Those ones who are genuine good people who are being beaten down, or at least that's how it feels, just for being a man. So that's what this episode is going to be tonight. This is the Mancast. Thank you for watching. If you want to follow us, we are on YouTube and Rumble, and we have an X account as well, all at the Mancast UK. So let's get into the video tonight. Having heard what I heard on the radio, I come home and I wanted to do a little experiment. I went on to the BBC website, which is our national broadcaster. Whether we watch it or not, the fact that we watch live TV, we are forced to pay for the BBC. Myself personally, I don't watch it. I don't. My wife does. So we pay our license fee. If we don't, we get into trouble. You know, it's a tax. No matter which way you dress it up, the fact that you are forced to pay it, and if you don't, you're in trouble, it's a tax. So I went on to the UK's national broadcaster, had a little look, went onto their website, and what I typed in was toxic masculinity, just to see how many recent articles come up. There would be some, I knew there would be, but it's kind of an experiment I wanted to do just to see how many came up. And I don't know if I was shocked or it kind of just cemented what I'd already thought would be on there. So here it is. Just from one little search on the website. Let's scroll down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 articles, podcasts, whatever it is, that are all linked with toxic masculinity. This is going back to March. So what's that? 4 months? That's page 1 of 4. And I think that just, like, let's go on to page 2. There's more of them. Same again. Scroll down. Page 3. There's more. Scroll down. Page 4. I think this really shows why I, as just a normal average guy who tries to be the best he can be, tries to be the best dad I can be, I worship my kids, absolutely worship them. And anyone who's watched previous episodes, watch episodes in the future, it's no secret, my kids mean everything to me, and they are girls, you know. So this isn't a man versus woman thing, which it feels like sometimes. That's how it comes across in our direction. I am fully aware that there are some guys out there who are not good people, who are not good role models, but are also not good representation of what your average man is. Your average man will go to work hard, earn money, bring money home for the family, treat his wife well, treat his kids well, has flaws like every single human being on the planet does. Every single human being. And anyone who says they don't have a flaw, let's be real, is a bit of a knobhead. Because everybody has got flaws. And I'm man enough to put my hands up and say, there are things I wish I could change about myself. One of them, I'll be honest, is if someone is a bit of a knobhead, I have a big mouth and I'll tell them to the face what I think. I'm not going to apologise for that. I'm not. You know, my honesty has got me into trouble from time to time. It's why I don't like playing poker. My poker face is not very good because I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Your average guy just wants to go through his life doing the best he can, getting as much enjoyment out of life as he can. And newsflash, a lot of men get their enjoyment from making sure the people around them are enjoying themselves. Seeing my kids smile, I could be having the worst day in the world. That means the world to me, genuinely. And that's not a unique thing, you know, I'm not some sort of superhero. No, 99% of blokes are exactly the same. Unfortunately, 1% of blokes are muppets, bad people, and they're the ones that you only hear about. And then we are constantly forced to hear about man did this and man did that. A man did this and a man did that. But as men, we don't like them just as much as you. There are so many masculine traits genuine masculine traits that are good, that we need, that has gotten our civilization to the point where it is now. We need masculinity, we need femininity. They should work, they should coexist and work together as they have done for millennia. But now it seems to be, no, let's attack masculinity, let's attack men. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how it feels to me, how it feels to a lot of my mates that I speak with who are frustrated at the fact that they are just trying to be themselves, trying to be the best versions of themselves that they can be. And yet every time they load up a news article on the phone, load up X, Facebook, go on YouTube, TikTok, whatever it may be, men. It's a constant feed coming through of why men are bad. We're not. We have flaws, as do women, as does every single individual on the planet. And further on into this episode, I'm going to go into why I get so irate about this, why I'm so annoyed about this, why it pisses me off. Because men's mental health it's the whole idea of this podcast. The whole idea of the reason this channel come back in the first place is I want to talk about it, I want to highlight it, and not just read stats, not just to say this is an issue and then have no solution. I want to dig beneath the surface and say this is an issue, and this stuff like this toxic masculinity everywhere bollocks is not helping. It is not helping, it is exacerbating men's mental health. And that's what I said. That pisses me off. Okay? So this is not an attack on women, because I love women. I've been happily married for over 10 years, 2 daughters that I worship, and very, very, very soon, scarily soon, about to be a father of a 3rd daughter. Now, my 2 daughters that I have that are here are both daddy's girls. I can't be that much of an arsehole. You know what I'm saying? And if the 3rd one follows suit, I think my wife will be very unhappy. So, it is a bit of a rant video, and the reason is, like I said, I'm passionate about it, and when it comes to mental health, don't care if you're man, woman, alien just touched down from Mars. I don't care. Because it's an area that I'm passionate and I have experience in, I want to help people. And talking constantly about how men are evil, or at least that's how it comes across to men, that is helping no guy. And you might pat yourself on the back from your little article or your little speech that you give or your little video that you do about men are the worst and this is why. Yes, I've done a good job. No, you didn't. You just help exacerbate a problem that is rife in the UK, and that is men's mental health. So I'm going to show a video clip, and this is a couple years old. And before I play it, I just want to say I will strive to remain apolitical on this channel. Politics is a cesspit. It really is. If you vote this way, then you are X, and if you vote that way, you are Y, and you can never work together or talk with each other, and they're the enemy and they're the enemy. I hate where politics is across the world right now. So I say that to say that although I am bringing up a politician from a specific party, this is not a dig at that party. I want to bring this video up just to say that I think this really highlights an issue that there is, and a feeling that there is amongst men, how we're viewed, if that makes sense. What I will say is, I know after this video went viral, the politician involved got a lot of abuse, and that's vile, and I would never condone that. I'm not doing it so that this politician with the hope that this politician would get some sort of vile abuse. And it's not a dig at her. I think it just highlights the fact that men are an easy target right now. So the video in question, this is Labour's MP Jess Phillips, and it was, can't remember the male politician's name, Philip, it will come up in a minute, but he was talking about having a men's day or something in the UK. So I'll play the clip and then I'll come back to it afterwards. Oh, I love the adverts. Bear with me a second. As already previously said, this is not a dig at Jess Phillips at all. I just think sometimes we need to have genuine adult conversations about serious topics without trying to stick to your tribe. That goes against what I've previously said, so therefore I need to fight against it. And I think we personally just need to work together. So here is the clip.
Because of course not only do we have International Women's Day, we also have women and equality questions every month in the chamber, which we don't have for men. So the opportunity for men to raise issues that are important to them is very limited. And just to give you a flavour, Mr. Chairman, of the type of things that may come up and which will be part of International Men's Day, I'm not entirely sure why it's so humorous, but to discuss issues such as...
You have to excuse me for laughing, that the idea that men don't have the opportunity to ask questions in this place is a frankly laughable thing. As I say, as the only woman on this committee, it seems like every day to me is... Well, I wasn't making, with respect, I wasn't making that point. I wasn't making the point that men don't have an opportunity to ask. I was about men's issues. There's a very big difference between men raising issues and the raising of men's issues. But one could raise men's issues in any single one of the question sessions. So your men's health, absolutely. So prostate cancer, that could be raised in men's questions, couldn't it? Well, that could be raised in health questions. Mr. Chairman, I very much look forward to these arguments being deployed when we come to consider a debate on International Women's Day, because exactly the same arguments could be raised for International Women's Day, that women's health issues, that equality issues could be raised in women and equality questions in other forms. So all I ask is for an equal crack of the whip, that if those issues can be raised without having a debate on International Men's Day, then obviously the same issues can apply for when it comes to International Women's Day, but those arguments have never won the day before this committee. I just think that it's worth pointing out the idea that this chamber, that these houses, both of them, in any way reflect gender equality is to me a frankly laughable thing. And so in the fight for equality, I'm not sure the men on this list necessarily have that much to fight for. I don't care about men's issues, it's that I'm hoping for parity myself.
Yeah.
I absolutely care about men's issues. And when I've got parity, and when women in these buildings have parity, you can have your debate.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, if I can just make the point,
and that will take an awfully long time.
I'm not requesting a debate on representation within the House of Commons. I'm asking for debates on men's issues, and the list of issues I gave earlier, I would like to think people can recognise are genuine issues and actually are very, very rarely debated in the House of Commons.
So I'm not sure what issues he specifically brought up when he was speaking about it. I don't know. I know that clip. It's a clip that it involved me up when I saw it. And do you know what? I see what she's saying. When you look at the Houses of Parliament, you look at the Houses of Lords, it's predominantly men. Now, part of that reason may be because men are more drawn to politics than women. Part of it may be inherent sexism, especially previously, that's kind of, they're still trying to filter through. I get that. She's women's health minister or something like that, you know, so she's very passionate about pushing women's stuff. Fully behind that, you know. I'm not no male feminist, like, you know what I'm saying. I'm equal rights, you know. Don't care who you are, you know. I want everyone treated fairly, as long as those people are treating everyone else fairly and the system is just fair across the board. I think what he was trying to dig at, and again, I don't know which issues he brought up, but men's mental health is a significant issue in the UK. Not only in the UK, but across the world. I don't want to sound like it's a man versus woman thing. I don't want it to come across that way. But, this is where I contradict myself. But, if 3/4 of people taking their own life were women, I believe there would be a lot more articles talking about it, a lot more documentaries discussing it, a lot more podcasts focusing on it, and there would be a lot more talk in Parliament and parliaments across the world talking about why is this such an issue for women. When it is such an issue for men, it feels like it's a fight to have to talk about it, to discuss it. Part of that is a fight with men themselves. I'm fully aware of that. Fully aware of that. There are a lot of guys out there who are fighting their own demons and don't want to talk. But why don't guys want to talk? You know, that is something that you would hope whoever's in charge of the country, whatever political persuasion they may be, I don't care. You would hope they would say, this is an issue, so let's address it. Why don't guys talk? What can we do to encourage guys to come forward and talk? There are other guys who, thankfully, you know, and I'm envious of those people, have never had issues with their mental health, who don't understand it, because it's built into all guys. We don't talk. We're tough. We're stoic. We're strong. And a lot of guys are. And a lot of guys who are suffering with their mental health are also strong and stoic and tough and great people, but fear the fact that if they talk openly about it, they will seem weak. This to me is something that I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, should be spoken about in parliaments across the world. Should be given the awareness that it deserves, because it's a huge issue. I'm going to bring up some stats in a minute, and just listen to those stats and then tell me that this is not a massive issue and one that significantly affects men more than it does women. My wife, she goes and has women's checks, you know. I won't go into the details because I'm a bloke, so I don't know what they do. But what I do know is when the letter comes through, I'm like, you go sort yourself out. There's that much awareness, and it's like, yep, I'll do that, no problem. Women are fantastic cervical cancer, breast cancer, things like that. Women know it's an issue for women. Women will get those letters. Women will talk openly about it, and they'll go and do those checks that they need. Try getting a bloke to do that. Prostate cancer is another one, and I'm sure in the future I'll try and touch on prostate cancer. It's not affected anyone that I know, but it will do. It's such a big thing for men that at some point I know it will affect someone I know. But blokes are blokes. We don't talk about this with one another. Same with mental health. It is clearly an issue, as you'll see with the stats I bring up, but we struggle to talk about it. And I think when you see a very prominent female politician, again, this is not a dig at her per se. This is, I think her attitude towards it highlighted the wider feeling towards men's issues, and that is, doesn't matter. Or not doesn't matter, but you're a dude, man up, toughen up, whatever, crack on. Women need help. Why don't we all get the help and help one another and actually live in a society where you care about the people around you? And it's not tribal. And it's not, well, I'm a man, so don't care about women. And I'm a woman, I don't care about man. And I vote this way, don't care about you. All this tribal crap has got the world to a point where we are going backwards as a society. That's how it feels. You cannot have a dissenting voice. You cannot have a different political persuasion. There's no debate anymore. It's just, I believe this, you believe that, we don't talk. Real grown up. You know what I mean? It's like primary school stuff. You know what I'm saying? If we saw our kids doing that with each other, you'd be like, grow up, and yet as adults, that's the society we have now. These are grown-up problems that need grown-up solutions, which means we need grown-up conversations. And when we can't do that, what hope have we got? Genuinely, what hope have we got? So, next article I'm bringing up here, and is a very important article, and it's titled Understanding Men. I'm choosing my words carefully. Rumble, not so much. I can say this, not a problem. On YouTube, so understanding men taking their lives in the UK, a growing crisis. It's silly. Just saying those words on YouTube, from what I've heard, will get me downranked, and even though this is a very serious subject to talk about. So to go for the article, men taking their own life is a deeply concerning issue in the UK, right? And despite how it's laughed at by certain politicians and not taken seriously by so many people, it affects families, communities and society at large. Despite increasing awareness of mental health, men taking their own life remain disproportionately high. So it says this blog delves into the complexities of it in the UK, contributing factors, current stats and the importance of prevention. So the disproportionate impact on men in the UK is the leading cause of men under 50 to die. The leading cause. Men are 3 times more likely to die by their own hands than women are. Okay, 76% of men. 76%. 5%. And I believe we are 49% of the population, 51 women. And yet 76% of people taking their own life are men. I would say that's a pretty significant issue. I would say that is one that should be treated with the importance that is needed. And when people in politics are not taking it serious, it gets you back up a little bit, especially when you've been affected by it yourself, as I have. And the thing is, it may be men taking on life, but these men leave behind mothers and sisters and wives and children who are female and friends who are female. So this has an effect on women too. So this is not a men's issue. This is a societal issue. You would think it would be taken seriously. You would hope it would be taken seriously. So to look at the key stats on men taking a life in the UK. So in 2021, so this is 3.5 years ago when this would have come out, the age standardised rate of men taking their own life was 15.8 deaths per 100,000 compared to 5.5 per 100,000 for women. 5.5 per 100,000 is too many. That is women. That is too many. Let's try and help women. But it's 3 times as many for guys. Men aged 45 to 49 are the most at-risk group, with a rate of 22.5 per 100,000 men taking their own life. We thought it's an old... I remember growing up and hearing this about midlife crisis and all that. And we would laugh about it, Dude goes and gets himself a 20-year-old girlfriend and buys himself an old classic car and starts getting tattoos, and all of a sudden he's trying to relive his youth, and it was hilarious. It was something that was pointed at, made fun of, without actually scratching beneath the surface and saying what's going on. But it's not only people that age. Among younger men aged 20 to 24, they are just beginning their adult life. Taking their own life remains a significant issue with a rate of 13.1 per 100,000. It just shows that it affects men of all ages. So understanding the causes of it. And it states there is no single cause, but several factors disproportionately affect men in a way that increase their risk. So I'll quickly smash through this. Cultural expectations and masculinity. Many men in the UK feel pressure to conform to traditional notions of masculinity, strength, stoicism and independence. This can discourage them from seeking help when experiencing emotional distress. We already touched on that earlier. I'm sure we did. Economic pressures. Financial insecurity is a known contributor to mental health problems and the risk of taking their own life. Men, particularly those in middle age, often face pressures to be the primary breadwinners. Periods of unemployment, which is rising, job loss, which is rising, economic instability, which is rising, can significantly affect their mental health. I'm talking about the rising there. During the 2008 financial crisis, men taking their own life, their rates increased, and there are concerns that the current cost of living crisis could lead to a similar rise. Relationship breakdown. Men are also more affected by relationship breakdowns than women, partly due to lower levels of social support. Divorce and separation can lead to a loss of contact with children, which I have heard so many heartbreaking stories from guys I know who are loving fathers who can't see their kids no more, or struggle and face an uphill battle to see their children. That would break me. Family and support networks intensify feelings of loneliness and despair. Studies show that men are more likely to take their own lives in the aftermath of a relationship breakdown. And substance abuse, alcohol and drug misuse is often linked to men taking their own life. In many cases, substance abuse is used as a coping mechanism to deal with emotional pain, because blokes don't talk, but the pain remains. You know, they got to deal with it somehow, and they choose unhealthy ways. I've been guilty of that myself. However, it can worsen mental health problems and increase impulsivity, making men more vulnerable to taking their own lives during moments of crisis. So next paragraph is the role of mental health services, which are not the easiest to actually attain and use. Despite the increasing focus on mental health, there are concerns that services are not adequately reaching men. NHS data reveals that men are less likely to access psychological therapies, which are often the first line of treatment for those experiencing issues. For instance, a report from Mind found that in 2019, only 36% of referrals for therapy were for men. 36% of referrals, so 74 were not for men, and yet 76%, or whatever it was that we read earlier, of people taking their own life were men. That is a huge gap in between that. And then we've got prevention strategies. What needs to change? Challenging gender norms, improving access to mental health services, 100%. Early intervention, again, 100%. Don't wait till you're at the end of your tether, when you are literally, you've got nowhere to go, before you reach out for help. Reach out for help before you get there. Supporting economic stability. I'm sure we would all like that at the moment. And engaging men in conversations, which is engaging men in conversations, hopefully is it's kind of the idea of what this is about. You know, actually talk about it and be honest and say, do you know what? I don't care what you say. You know, if you're someone who doesn't understand, this podcast ain't for you. You know, this episode ain't for you. If you're someone going through it, this is for you. Reach out and talk. I'm not saying you have to go and do a video on the internet where anyone can watch it and you lay everything bare. No, go and talk confidentially, privately, but talk. Get that stuff from out of you, and actually, it helps. It's an old saying, but a problem shared is a problem halved. And genuinely, I can't tell you why, but it does. It does. So I wish so much that this was not a passing comment where someone would say men's mental health is an issue, and then go and spend the rest of the year talking about something else. We have Mental Health Awareness Day, which is now a month, I believe. You know, and I love the awareness side of it. I generally do, and this is the awareness side is not to say, come on, let's diagnose everyone, or at least it shouldn't be. It's let's encourage people who are really struggling, really having a hard time, really struggling to admit to people around them or to doctors, I need a little bit of help here. It's about encouraging those people to come forward, man or woman, and get the help that they need. And that to me is a great thing. I do this every day. I do this every day with myself. I've got my own demons, you know what I'm saying? But I do a lot of stuff regarding mental health because I want to help people. You can only help someone if they're willing and prepared to help themselves, and that's a hard truth to take sometimes. It is. But hopefully openness and honestness, I'm making up words now, and honesty can encourage people to say, do you know what? I have been bottling some stuff up and I do have this issue or that issue, and I've heard you talking about it and I felt a bit embarrassed, but I feel like I might be able to come forward and talk about my issues to you, you know, a family member, friend, whatever. Hopefully I can talk to you about it, and you might actually, even if you don't fully get it, you'll be prepared to listen. And that's where honest conversations do lead to, when people start opening up and being honest with one another. You bottle that stuff up, it doesn't go anywhere. And I've learned that firsthand. It genuinely doesn't. It just builds up and builds up till you come to a crisis point. Don't let yourself get to that point. You know, I'm sure anyone who cares about you fully would rather you talk to them than not have you in their life anymore because you didn't talk to them. It's tough. It's tough. So I'm going to go back to talking about what feels like an attack on men. A concerted attack on masculinity, especially. Like, masculinity is now it's a bad word. It's an ugly word. Oh no, that guy's a bit masculine. Oh dear. Oh, what do we do with that masculine person? Masculinity, I said this at the start, masculinity and femininity together have coexisted for millennia and got us to the point of existence where we are. We need both. We need both. Men have feminine traits. Women have masculine traits. It's not bad to have masculine traits. It's not bad to be proud of those masculine traits. It almost feels like when you portray those strong, predominantly masculine traits, power, strength, leadership, oh, they're so bad. You know, that's how it comes across now. And rookie mistake, I left my phone on loud. That is, it shouldn't be something that men are embarrassed about, to say, I'm proud of my masculinity. There's a difference between, I understand the whole toxic masculinity thing, and this next article I'm going to pull up actually explores and delves into the toxic side of it, but actually promotes the positive side of it too, which I found a very insightful article. I'm not too sure about the title of it, as you'll see when I pull it up, but here we go. The war on masculinity, why men are becoming soft. That's the bit I disagree with, because I think there's a lot of strong guys out there, and what to do about it. So, why the fall of masculinity is a problem. For generations, masculinity has served as the foundation of leadership, ambition and resilience, yet today it stands at a crossroads. Modern society often frames traditional masculine traits as toxic, outdated or even dangerous, just from being masculine. At the same time, men face real challenges, decline in physical health, rise in mental health struggles, and confusion about their role in an evolving world. This isn't just a personal issue. I've used this word a few times. It's a societal one. Weak men lead to weak communities, and without a healthy understanding of masculinity, everyone suffers. In this article, we'll explore the forces contributing to the decline of masculinity, the rise of its more harmful manifestations, and actionable steps to reclaim and redefine what it means to be a man in today's world. So that is what this article is about. So the number paints a troubling picture in the US. So this is American, but I imagine it's within the Western world too. I imagine it's very similar. Testosterone levels have been declining at a rate of 1% per year. Bloody hell. 1% per year since the 1980s. That's like 45 years ago. This decline isn't just a matter of aging, it's happening across all age groups. Researchers link the trend to lifestyle changes, environmental factors, and even diet. Low test levels come with serious consequences, including decreased energy and motivation, increased risk of depression and anxiety, loss of muscle mass and physical strength, and reduced libido and fertility. Beyond biology, modern lifestyles compound the problem. So, sedentary behaviour fueled by endless hours of screen time has become the norm. Only 23% of adults meet their physical activity guidelines. Meanwhile, cultural shifts have redefined masculinity in ways that often strip it of its positive aspects. Assertiveness is labelled aggression. Do not assert yourself or you're angry. Leadership is mistaken for dominance. As I said earlier, I will try to stay apolitical. But look at politics around the world and question where the leaders are. The result, a generation of men left feeling aimless and emasculated. But this isn't the whole story. The attack on masculinity is as much cultural as it is physical. So the psychological attack in media and popular culture. This is the BBC articles that I brought up earlier. Men are frequently portrayed as inept or aggressive, rarely striking a balance between competence and compassion, which the majority of men have in abundance. While this shift is meant to challenge harmful stereotypes, it often swings too far, eroding confidence in young men and leaving them unsure of their place in society. And so many conversations have been had by myself with other guys who feel lost. That's a word I hear so many times, just lost. And a lot of that is coming because everything that's been thrown in our face, we're like, I'm being told I'm this, but I'm not. And it's affecting men so negatively. So the stats. So even in the US, men are 4 times more likely than women to take their own life. And men are less likely to seek mental health support. So very similar. There is a toxic side, and I'm not going to try and hide that and ignore that, because it is. We've seen it. But not all responses to the war on masculinity have been constructive. Some influencers have built massive platforms promoting a version of masculinity that's hyper-aggressive, materialistic and often misogynistic. While their rhetoric appears empowering on the surface, it frequently crosses into harmful territory, encouraging young men to view relationships and success through a lens of dominance rather than mutual respect. The real-world consequences of this rhetoric are undeniable. Educators report rising incidents of boys mimicking sexist language, and social media platforms are rife with examples of teenage boys harassing women under the guise of alpha behaviour. And I like this because it's true. This isn't masculinity, it's a caricature of it. 100%. And there are man or women, you are always going to find arseholes. It's just the way of the world. So, true masculinity is about strength paired with responsibility. It's about leading without dominating, protecting without controlling, and achieving without belittling others. Addressing the toxic side of masculinity requires better role models, not just accusing all men. Leaders who can demonstrate that masculinity isn't about yelling the loudest or amassing the most wealth. It's about creating a life of value and purpose that lifts others up along the way. And then embracing emotional intelligence, which is a long-winded way of saying bloody talk. Basically, for years the stereotype has been that masculinity means stoicism, bottling up emotions and maintaining a facade of invulnerability. And every guy I meet that I speak to genuinely has done this, myself included, and I still do. It's ingrained in us. But research has shown that emotional intelligence is not just a skill, it's a superpower, particularly for men navigating modern relationships, workplace and leadership roles. The ability to identify, understand and regulate your emotions doesn't make you less of a man, it makes you a more effective one. And on a side note, actually talking about it is bloody hard, and one of the hardest things you'll ever do, especially the first time you do it. But it does have such a positive effect. And do you know what? Having those, to go back to leadership, which is one of the masculine traits which we should not be embarrassed about. Coming forward and saying, I am experiencing this, I am feeling this, having those conversations are bloody hard. But that encourages other people who may be feeling the same to come forward and do the same and have those conversations. Tell me that's not leadership. Where you are exposing your weakness, your underbelly, you are opening up, prepared for the world to laugh at you and ridicule you, because that's what we tell ourselves that the world's going to do. And other people take your lead and say, I feel more comfortable in doing that now. And you having that conversation, one of your mates, one of your family members can say, I feel more comfortable to do that now. And who knows, potentially save their life. Call it how it is. Potentially, you being brave enough to do it gives other people the strength to do it and could stop them taking their own life. If that's not leadership, I don't know what it is. It sounds like leadership to me, genuinely. It's not easy, and there will be people who don't get it. I mean, on a side note, Wimbledon's on right now, and I don't get it. Tennis bores the crap out of me. But I don't belittle people who watch it, you know what I'm saying? You just ain't going to catch me watching it. You do you. Yeah, serious so. There will be people who don't get it. Don't let that discourage you, dissuade you from coming forward and talking about it. Get that help you need. And those honest conversations, you'll be surprised how many people you can affect in a positive way by doing that. Just showing other people they can do it as well. So I've talked about how it feels like we're being portrayed in the media, and how it does feel like we are under a constant stream of attack. And yes, there is a toxic side. There is toxic masculinity. You know what I'm saying? But not everything that's masculine is toxic. You know, I think I want to go back to the 90s, 2000s, when we just used, rather than using these hyper intelligent words, just simplify it and say, that's a good man, and that's an arsehole. And simplify it that way. You know, maybe if we I'm not sure how many newspapers they'd sell when the title was so and so is an arsehole. Actually, do you know what? I think they might do well. I might have a business plan for some newspapers here right now. Rather than just have an attack on men, you know, don't tie us all to the same bush. Yeah. But the last article I want to bring up is referencing some positive masculine traits. And let's finish on a positive, and let's actually embrace the fact that 99% of us are just decent guys. Don't let them tell you otherwise. So let's load it up. And the article is titled 12 Signs of Masculinity That Every Man Should Know. So let's have a look through. So, about the author, Bayu Prihandito is the founder of Life Architecture and certified psychological consultant and life coach for men. So that's who he is. So, strength beyond muscles, which is emotional resilience. While rippling muscles might steal the spotlight, the core of genuine masculinity comes with emotional resilience. This trait is a man's armour in face of life's difficulties, and life does have difficulties. It does. Instead of crumbling under pressure, men with this resilience strive through challenges with a sober head and willing heart. They acknowledge emotions, both their own and others, not as weaknesses but as guides. They work through setbacks, learn from experiences, and emerge not embittered but enlightened. Courage to be vulnerable. A key sign of true masculinity is the courage to be vulnerable. It's kind of what I was just speaking about a minute ago. It's a mistaken assumption that real men don't feel fear. On the contrary, a manly trait is the willingness to confront and admit fears, recognizing that it's a natural part of life. Facing one's anxieties with honesty and openness rather than hiding or denying them requires immense bravery. Hear, hear. Like coming forward and talking. It's bloody hard, and when you do it, you deserve a pat on the back for it. Independence while valuing connection. Independence is often seen as a masculine virtue, but it's not about isolation. Healthy masculinity recognizes the power of independence while placing equal importance on connections and relationships. It's about being self-sufficient without shutting out support or collaboration. A strong, independent man knows when to lean on his tribe, and understanding his life's journey is enriched by sharing triumphs and trials with others. Leadership with empathy. Leadership doesn't just sit in the driver's seat, it also listens to the passengers. A man who leads with empathy will be able to guide others, a guide with compassionate ear and a supportive hand. We've all had bosses who are great bosses, who, you know who the boss is, but they'll listen to you. We've had bosses that are arseholes. That's kind of going back to the 99% of men, decent guys. 1%, it's not toxic masculinity, they're arseholes. We've all had bosses who are arseholes, you know. Assertiveness balanced with kindness. Very similar to the last one. Modern masculine man understands that assertiveness and kindness are not mutually exclusive. True assertiveness is about expressing your needs and opinions confidently without undermining others. Number 6, personal accountability and growth. One of the clearest signs of a man's strength is his capacity for personal accountability. Yeah, balls up, you admit it. Men who take ownership of their actions, decisions and their life's path exemplify a foundational aspect of masculinity. The strength of building your tribe. Healthy masculinity is about building strong bonds and being part of a supportive tribe. A masculine man knows that while self-reliance is vital, so is the strength gained from a network of positive relationships. Nurturing love and relationship skills. Embodying masculinity also means nurturing love and developing your relationship skills. A masculine man recognizes that being adept at building and maintaining relationships is as important as any other life skill. Nearly done. Confidence that inspires. Confidence is another aspect of healthy masculinity, but it's the type that inspires rather than intimidates. It's confidence that doesn't boast but rather reassures. Be confident, don't be cocky. Like, you know, we all know that guy who's just, he thinks he's the best at everything, and then there's that guy who just is confident in what he does but will take you along with him. You know, and those people are real leaders. Number 10, embracing both masculine and feminine qualities. An evolved sense of masculinity means recognizing and integrating both traditionally masculine and feminine qualities. Is the realization that traits like strength and assertiveness must be complemented by compassion, intuition, and cooperation. I said earlier in this podcast, men have masculine and feminine traits. Women have masculine and feminine traits. They work together. And that's a good thing. The responsibility of mentorship. Mentorship is a great way to show mature masculinity. A man who mentors does more than impart wisdom. He invests in the growth of others, and it's something I personally enjoy trying to do myself where I can. And aligning actions with words. Integrity in work and life. Integrity is the alignment of actions and words, an essential facet of a respected man. Masculine integrity means making promises that one intends to keep and living by a set of principles that resonate with one's deepest values. I like that article because I agree with all of those. And that's kind of how I try my best to live my life, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a flawed human being. Because I'm a human being and we all are flawed. Masculinity is nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing to be ashamed about. And do you know what? I'm proud to try and be as masculine as I can be. And part of that is embracing my feminine traits. Despite the shaved head and the beard, I do have them. You know what I mean? We all do. This was hopefully a positive ending. I know it started as a rant because I was pissed off with men being constantly under attack. And do you know what? I know doing volunteer work that I do, I see so many guys and 99% of them are just sound decent, honest, good people. And a lot of them feel like they are being beaten with a stick because they dare to be born with a penis. because of how we're portrayed in the media, on the news, Twitter, X, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it may be. Do you know what? Most blokes, the vast majority of blokes are decent guys. Stop having to go with the good guys, like, you know what I mean? Hopefully it's created some sort of positivity about embracing masculinity and not being embarrassed about it or ashamed by it. And if you think it did, give the video a like. I'm going to wrap it up there. If you're still listening, and if you're a guy, be the best guy you can be, and don't be ashamed about being a man. This is the Mancast. This is the place you can be a man, and we'll embrace it. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Hit the notification bell. We're on YouTube, Rumble, and X, all at the Mancast UK. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.